This is the Marketing Boss Podcast, where today's top marketing professionals reveal their best tips, tools, and strategies, and we all become better leaders because of it. And here's your host, video marketing expert, Parshell Houghton.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Boss, brought to you by Fresh Level, a video marketing agency. I'm your host, Parshell Houghton. Thank you guys for being with me today. I am really excited about our show today and our guest, Deirdre Mahon. She's from the San Francisco Bay Area, and she's going to be sharing some really interesting information with us, some some really good insight into what's happening right now as technology is evolving. You guys are probably familiar with a lot of cloud and SaaS organizations and platforms. Think of Salesforce and all the other types of technology that's out there. So I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about how marketing is taking on customer success roles within those technologies. So I'm really excited about that. You guys are going to love that. Before we get into that, I want to thank those who have connected with me so far via social media. And if you'd like to connect, you can find me, Parshell Houghton, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Also, be sure to join our private LinkedIn group that's called the Marketing Boss Club. It's where marketing professionals like us can collaborate and grow together. Again, that's the Marketing Boss Club. So come in and join the group. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our interview with Deirdre. Thank you for being with me today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the session. Yeah,
definitely. So to give you guys a little bit of insight into who this wonderful lady is, she is a multifunction marketing and customer success SaaS executive with hands-on experience spanning strategy, positioning, content, demand generation, digital and social, in addition to all the aspects of communications, PR, AR, and IR. She has proven success with early stage startups that have been acquired or went IPO, and she has a lot of experience with turnaround as well as public companies. So we're definitely in for a treat today. So Deirdre, I'm so excited. Tell me a little bit about what you're up to today. I know you are a busy lady and you have a lot of things that are exciting going on in your world. So tell me how are things evolving for you? What's going on?
Sure. So I am currently with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, HPE. That is my equipment company. If many of you know who HP is, but we are currently leader is my equipment. And I was with a company called Cloud Cruiser that was acquired back in February this year. So I'm in the process of transitioning Cloud Cruiser marketing and customer success into a division of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. So it's pretty exciting. Went from a small startup that was around for 7 years, doing some really interesting stuff in the cloud space. A SaaS application, Cloud Cruiser, is an app that meters and manages your spend and usage in the cloud. So think of Amazon Web Services, Azure, lots of other clouds out there, but those are the two biggies. And really transitioning that technology into Hewlett-Packard, which is, as you guys know, it's a very large enterprise that is much more traditional and selling hardware and storage. And they are in the process of moving to a consumption-based model. So the new world order of cloud is pay as you go, pay by the drink, and only for what you use. And it's exciting times, very dynamic market. So I'm currently helping out Hewlett-Packard move to a consumption-based model.
That's awesome. And again, technology is changing, and it's awesome to hear that HP is definitely following with that trend to provide more value to its audience. That's awesome. Tell me a little bit also in terms of your experience. How did you get started in the world of marketing?
Well, some years ago now, definitely over 20 years ago, I sort of consider myself as a marketing athlete. So in other words, sort of worked my way up the chain and evolved as technologies were introduced and markets changed. I've pretty much done every aspect of marketing, all the way to running conferences and user groups, and then getting into product and marketing and content and then strategy. I've done partner marketing. And my most favorite thing, if you check me out on LinkedIn, you'll see I've done 5 startups. So I consider myself a creator. I love a blank slate. Give me a blank slate and go and sort of create and carve out a new market, which of course is what startups do. And more recently, I've working in the cloud and SaaS arena. I've been cutting my teeth with customer success. So hence our topic today. My belief is that especially in smaller organizations and those that are delivering SaaS applications, the world of customer success is absolutely critical to driving revenue. So as most of you know, it's all about customer sat and renewal, getting stickiness on your application such that you get more penetration in the market. And customer retention is critical to that revenue goal that SaaS models are built on. So my belief is that it can't be left to only sales, and it can't be left to probably a small services team. So marketing actually has to be in the driver's seat for all things customer success. So yeah, I think having been around the block and done a lot of different marketing functions, I love working with sales, especially in small organizations that are, really building brand and driving sales, and then customer success is a key part of that. So I'm excited to get into some of the details today.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, the fact that, you start a lot of these companies from a blank slate, but then to see how things have evolved. You think about technology and even that customer success journey. I know that is changing drastically now. So do you find that change in customer success, is that due to, the changes in technology, or do you think that is for other reasons?
Well, I absolutely think technology is a key part of it, but I also think from a process and people and customer journey perspective, there's a lot of moving parts to it. So if you sort of rewind the clock pre-SaaS, the customer journey would have started out with probably some sort of pilot or proof of value where there was some face time. The sales and maybe the services guy and the technology architect would go out and sit with customers and take their time onboarding them to try a product out. Well, those days are gone when it comes to a SaaS. Most SaaS organizations, they, right there emblazoned on their homepage is take a free trial, 2 weeks or however long you determine a free trial should take. And so there isn't the face time. So, unless a customer reaches some critical mass and they're going to spend a lot of money on a particular application acquisition, then they, a free trial, most SaaS organizations today, sort of the sweet spot of an early onboarding customer is somewhere between 30 to 50,000 annual recurring revenue. So there's no, it's all digital. So it's all remote. You don't ever see the customer. And so the touch points, you have to really think about what are the different touch points across that customer journey from the moment they trial the product. So sales really need, when you ask about is it in part technology, so think of marketing automation technologies, whether you use Marketo or HubSpot, whatever your flavor, those are critical to automating a flow of conversations and touch points with that customer. So as soon as they engage with you and start a trial, you want to be very specific about when you converse with them in a digital way. And sales just can't do that on their own. They absolutely have to be lockstep with marketing, who owns those automation tools that enables you to do it in a way that is not too intrusive and that is personalized to what that customer is actually doing, such that they become engaged and they buy.
Yeah, I think the key thing you just said there is the personalized manner. And when I think of, from the consumer standpoint, you do want to still have that sense of personalization throughout the process that, that someone is dealing directly to me or talking directly to me, as opposed to I'm just another number, you know what I mean? So with that being said, do you think that customers that use these apps to engage with the brand or the company they're working with, do you think that they're getting good service still?
Yeah, and I think it's a combination. So, people, process, and technology. So you can't just sort of automate it and leave it alone. You have to engage, if that's the inside salesperson or the technology SE person that's doing those touch points during, say, a trial or a pilot. So, for example, at Cloud, with the company that I was with that got acquired, we were able to figure out just from patterns of customers, if it was a 2-week time frame, we would automate a very sort of short touch-based customer-friendly message day 3 or 4. And then day 7 or 8, we would go with another message that, how are you doing? Do you need any help? And then right before the end of the trial, you would send out another automated email. And the trick is that if the salesperson is fully engaged with that account, and they will know from a series of logs and analytics what that customer is actually doing. They will know if that customer is heavy on the product or just logging in once a day and spending a few minutes. They'll know how sticky that customer is, and they can sort of intercept those automated email touch points to say, I think maybe we need to jump on a call, and maybe you need some more help with this particular aspect of the product. So the technology is one piece of it, and you can automate that such that you're able to scale over time. But there does need to be a sales human touch point as well, so that the customer doesn't feel like they're just being yet another number, and it's sort of a canned email response that they're getting every few days. So sharing what the whole process and the whole flow and the content that's being sent to the customer is absolutely key, and the salespeople need to be completely engaged and in the know. And every time a customer gets a message, that sales rep knows exactly what the customer is getting to. And like I said earlier, the non-FaceTime, you have to stay on top of this, and you have to be able to jump on a call with that person and get their feedback. How are they feeling about the product? Does it answer their needs? What are their key requirements? None of that human touch completely disappears with most SaaS applications, but you have to be together delivering that experience for the customer.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I think that sometimes people are fearful that the technology will completely erase the human interactivity, but that's not the case. I think that the technology, if any, it helps to make that human interaction much better. Well, what are your thoughts on that? Because technology it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop growing. But I think that if we do, as you mentioned, if we combine the human interactivity, with the technology, then it should and it will make this, how we engage with our customers that much better.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I think it probably comes down to what's your model and what's your price point. So, we all of us use LinkedIn, and many of you probably know LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So if we're talking about a couple of grand annual recurring revenue for a tool or sort of an add-on app, then you probably are not going to get that higher quality human touch. But if you're talking about an enterprise grade SaaS application, so think about Marketo or Zendesk or a lot of the sort of newer, even a Dropbox or a Box, a lot of the newer SaaS applications in the market, I think they do require a human touch. The other part of it is that a lot of the models are beachhead an account, solve a problem, go in, get a particular department or group to use the app, and then expand and grow from there. That's a very sort of classic, what Salesforce did, and certainly Marketo and others. But if you don't engage the customer early on and have that, give that customer experience where there is a human helping them out on the other end, then it's going to be really hard to, over time, expand thereafter. So, I've been a victim of this myself, and it's a pet peeve of mine. So you sign on, you spend, let's say, $30,000 annual with a particular application that you're using in your organization, and then right before the renewal is up, maybe a month or a few weeks out, suddenly you hear from the customer service rep, "Hi, I'm introducing you. I'm so-and-so. I'm your customer service rep." And you're like, "Okay, that's interesting. Where have you been for the last 10 or 11 months?" So doing it early out the gate, setting the expectation and communicating what your customer should expect over the tenure of, or the life cycle of their usage of your app, that's critical. So don't think, "Oh, the customer success guys, right, you guys come in and talk to me when it's too late," and to engage and really understand what's going on with the experience and with using the app.
Yeah, that's so true. And, the other thing that comes to mind, too, is when it comes to technology and how it's evolving is, the silo of marketing and sales, and how typically they're seen as things that are separate. But do you find that with some of these SaaS organizations that they are bridging the two together, and are they doing it, in the right way? Or do you think that there's room for improvement even in that respect?
Yeah, my experience is, it depends on the size of the organization and the maturity. So often, for startups, which is the majority of my experience, I have worked in large organizations, but it's been mostly through acquisition. But when you're starting out the gate, you're building out your marketing group and function, and you usually lockstep building out your sales teams. And you're figuring out what are your customer journeys, what are the processes, what are the sales cycles, what conversions, latency, annual contract values, all of the classic metrics for any SaaS organization. And often it takes a few cycles. It'll take a good couple of years plus to figure that out. And, sometimes those organizations suddenly wake up and go, "Oh, okay, we've got a customer now, they've been on board more than a year. Oh shit, they don't seem to be renewing. What's going on?" My encouragement, and having lived it a few times over now, is, figure that customer success stuff early on and give ownership to some function. Sales is usually under tremendous pressure to go out and get net new deals. So that's, they got to go out and figure out how are they going to grow revenue and expand the market penetration in their footprint. Marketing is just, to me, it's the natural best place for a customer success function to live. So, I think we chatted about this earlier on our call. Usually, at least, what happened in the pre-SaaS days was, marketing generates the demand and potentially, hopefully, the lead. Sales goes, closes the deal, and then they move on to the next deal. So they are compensated to do that. And then suddenly marketing goes, "Hang on, do we have any case studies? We need some references." So at some point, then they're reintroduced to that account and to that customer. What I say is get marketing involved and engage with the customers early on, because they are absolutely going to want those references and case studies, and that, of course, builds new customers. All customers want some form of reference. So marketing is a natural place in a smaller organization for customer success to live, and they need to understand and hear direct feedback from customers. What is my experience with this product, which of course then eventually hopefully gets fed back into product management and engineering. So I think of it as more of a full cycle. As a company grows and scales, a dedicated function of customer success will be formed. But certainly marketing is very closely involved with that function of the business, which is critical.
Absolutely. And I love it because it's like this cycle, that just empowers the entire process. So that's amazing. And I'm really, really excited and thankful for the information that you're sharing. I've been taking notes and also wanted to ask you, before we wrap up here, I want to be sensitive to your time. Do you have any other advice that you have for others that are listening in terms of how they can take and implement what it is that you are sharing with us today?
Yeah, I mean, I would just, a few final thoughts before we hang up today. I always, sometimes we get so busy and so involved in the day-to-day runnings of the business and figuring out, operationally how you can improve and become more efficient. And I always encourage marketers need to be reminded of this. Think outside in. And often, especially in the digital cloud world that we live, you don't really get the face time with customers. So I encourage sit in on sales calls, listen to what customers are saying. It not only helps in terms of messaging, but what the customer needs and requirements are. You've got to hear that firsthand. You can't only rely on sales to tell you. And then, of course, if you're lockstep and fully engaged in the customer success journey, you have to listen to what the customer demands are. So always outside in and do more listening and less talking.
I love it. Now, you guys heard it from Deirdre here. This is some great tips that we can all use as we approach our businesses and the organizations that we are in or that we work for. So this is great. Where can people reach out to you if they have other questions or want to connect with you further?
I would encourage them to use LinkedIn. That's the best way to reach me. You can send me an email.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being with me today. This was a really, really great, insightful conversation.
All right. Thank you. Have a good long weekend.
Same to you. Well, you guys, that does it for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, remember, a good boss is a good leader. Go out there and serve your gifts to the world because you are the boss. Thank you guys for being with me today. Until next time, take care.
Thanks so much for listening to the Marketing Boss Podcast with your host, video marketing expert, Parshell Houghton. We'll catch you next time.